Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, my name is Rahul Mahale. I work as a principal DevOps engineer at Circle.so. I work remotely from Nasik. When not coding, I can be found playing gully cricket or driving. And nice to hear at KubeCon, Delhi.
How long have you been working with Kubernetes, and what are some interesting production stories that you can share with
Yes,
us?
definitely. So, working on Kubernetes, I think it was 2014 to 2015 when I set up my first application on Kubernetes. At that time, there was no EKS, no GCP, no managed Kubernetes service. So, I had to bring up new VMs, install Kubernetes on them using tools called KubeSpray, KubeADM, KOPS, KOPS, and all. So that was some sort of a challenging way to learn the Kubernetes, but we started on it. Later in 2017, then there came an EKS, and AWS's managed Kubernetes service, which was really taking out the weightlifting pain for SREs and DevOps folks or platform engineers to manage Kubernetes cluster. I think the most challenging part for me while running Kubernetes in production was on bare metals, there was no load balancer. So if you create a service called load balancer back there in 2015, 2016, you don't have load balancer. So there is a project called MetalLB, which is a load balancer, a virtual load balancer for Kubernetes services, and that was the first challenge I overcame. Then another challenge was like having a metrics-based auto scaling. So initially the HPA came, and it was in beta 1, it wasn't in V1 version, and it did supported only CPU type of scaling. So for metrics-based auto scaling, I had to write the Prometheus plugins, Prometheus metrics, and then just set up an auto scaling based on metrics. But right now all those are gone, and we have much of custom metrics based auto scaling.
So you've seen how the entire Kubernetes and cloud native landscape has evolved over the years.
Yes.
What are your thoughts about where we have started with this and where we have come in 2025?
Oh, definitely. So when I was introduced to Kubernetes, the predecessor of it was Borg. When I spoke to Kelsey Hightower, Joe Beda, and Brendan Burns, all the three co-founders of Kubernetes, I had a chance to do podcast with them, and I know a story on how they open sourced Kubernetes and all. But once when it was open source, there was not only a one platform to orchestrate containers. There was Apache Mesos, there was even Netflix is it, there was Rancher, and Docker Swarm. There were four orchestration tools at that time, but Kubernetes won it, and I think the main reason behind for that was it was open source and community. So a lot of people started using it, a lot of plugins and ecosystems started developing around it, and now here we are. We have from a small tiny application to run complete data centers, banking applications, legacy applications, and all sorts of even what we say the space organizations right now are using Kubernetes. So right now it is really into proven as a standard out of a market for technology, and this is really considered as a Linux moment for Kubernetes. So 20 years back, Linux was something which was seen as a future of tech community in software industry. I think Kubernetes is at the same spot right now.
And really quickly, what's the one thing that you think is really challenging with Kubernetes today, and what could be a possible solution for that?
Yes, I think with the ecosystem and learning companies around, I don't think it's really a challenging way. But the challenging way I would say right now is the steep learning curve. For the people who are beginners, they when they are introduced to Kubernetes, there's a lot of them to take in. Like, what is the container process? It is containerd, Docker. How are the hosts made up of? Are they Windows, Linuxes, or any other OSs? So, and how's the networking? How the IP tables work behind the scene? So, for the one who is introduced to CNCF for Kubernetes like project right now, there is something a steep learning curve to get into the deep state of the Kubernetes technology. So there is a challenge for that. I would suggest having a fundamental knowledge of Linux and networking before starting a Kubernetes or any cloud platform is really beneficial for one to have a thorough, deep understanding.